I don't want to say that chapter 332 of My Hero Academia spells doom and gloom for the heroes going forward, but it really does. It looks like Star and Stripe is ultimately going to be defeated, and that Shigaraki is going to receive her quirk, which is putting him at an even more powerful and advantageous spot than he already was, because I don't even believe he's at 100% now. And on top of that, getting an incredibly powerful quirk, it does not look great for the heroes, and I'm excited to see where that goes. But today, I want to talk about chapter 332 of My Hero Academia. The chapter starts off seeing Star and Stripe sitting around with their pilots, so all talking about her limits of boosting her quirk, how she compares herself to All Might, how they're both beasts and really the only two that could go against each other. But during all that, she kind of has an internal monologue going along, talking about that yes, she really does have a limit on how much she can boost her quirks. But I thought that she already had in her head kind of around that, well, maybe it's because Cassie's a girl, it's something she's thinking to herself. But we get to the end of this kind of flashback moment, and not once did any of her pilots ever say that to her, and really how close they were, that clearly these pilots are all really good guys, never thought that about her. That this is more of an internal monologue that she kind of had herself, more than any of her pilots ever saying that to her again, reinforcing the idea of how close this entire group is. In the current time, we do see that T-Mat is starting to get closer, and Star and the pilots are kind of talking through of how the game plan of everything is going to happen. Star is going to release a laser, and all the pilots are going to begin putting the laser directly on Shigaraki to keep him kind of suppressed down. And at the same time, Star is going to begin redirecting all the missiles and send them into Shigaraki directly. Shigaraki started to pick up that something's happening. That Star has to be smart enough to realize that this laser that is being held onto him right now isn't enough to kill him, but more just kind of stun locking. That more than likely she has a bigger bang that is going to come in soon and hopefully put an end to him. So he's kind of putting all this together and understanding that her quirk only has two different rules that can be in place, that something is going to happen here soon. The missiles do arrive, and Star does switch over a quirk, and everything seems to go according to plan. The pilots begin blasting Shigaraki, and Star uses her giant form to redirect all of the missiles straight at Shigaraki with one of the biggest mouthfuls of a move ever, called the state-of-the-art hypersonic intercontinental cruise punch, straight into Shigaraki with an amazing, huge explosion. But after Star kind of recovers from the blast and looking down at the aftermath, we see that there's just a huge crater in the middle of the ocean, but within that crater there's one very small hole. We see that Shigaraki started decaying the ocean floor below him, kind of digging underground so that he would be safe from the explosion, and kind of using his Nomu above as a kind of replacement for himself, so when all the pilots were shooting a laser at him, they're actually shooting at the Nomu, and he was able to safely get underground, and ultimately the explosion didn't end up killing him, even though he is incredibly damaged. Some of the drawings here is incredible of how his skin is regenerating, but it's just how much damage he really is taking at this point. But he bounces out of that hole and jumps back in the sky onto one of the bombers, saying that that really would have worked against anyone else except for him, but now he's going to make better use of her resources. Shigaraki is on top of one of these bombers, and the pilot is yelling for Star to crush them both, him and the bomber, him, Shigaraki, everything, that it might be enough to kill him because of how much damage he's taken. But Star realizes that no, he's regenerating too quickly, kind of hesitates for a second, and Shigaraki jumps straight at her, grabbing her face, and the chapter ends right there, looking very bad for Star and Stripes. So, again, amazing chapter, some amazing moments and drawings in this chapter, but I really want to talk about where this is going to go. So, our money for a lot of us was Shigaraki was going to go win this. No way Star and Stripe were ever going to be able to kill Shigaraki, but maybe just damage him enough that he has to go into hiding. Doesn't look like that's going to be the outcome. He's regenerating so fast, and more than likely is going to end up with Star and Stripe first. There's one situation in where that might not happen, is because we did see in the distance with the explosion going off that Endeavor did see it, more than likely Town Hawk's best genus. So there is a chance that the pro heroes from Japan may arrive just in time to pull Star and Stripe off, because I really don't see a situation in where the heroes can really win with Star and Stripe's power going over Shigaraki. So hopefully we do see the pro heroes end up, because we did get kind of a cliffhanger on this chapter where Star and Stripe isn't quite dead. The quirk hasn't been taken yet, so we can't automatically assume that it is, but we can talk about what happens if it goes that way. Another situation of, okay, let's say Shigaraki does end up with Star and Stripe's powers. Deku still does have one quirk that we don't know. We don't know what the second quirk does yet, I can't imagine it's going to be anything as overpowered as Star and Stripe's ability, but I feel like it's going to have to be something very specific that can counter that can make him immune to something, or just kind of give him some very direct and situational advantage against Shigaraki that wouldn't work any other time, which is why he hasn't used it so far. So why I did start off the video saying that it is doom and gloom for the heroes if Star and Stripe's power does go over to Shigaraki. This is ultimately Deku's story, so let's be honest, we know Deku's going to have some way to get around it, or more than likely, hopefully, Star and Stripe is going to be saved from Shigaraki, even though there was kind of a lot of foreshadowing these last 2 chapters, that more than likely Star and Stripe and her pilots are all going to die, but I still think there's a small chance that Pro Hero show up to save the day, and she might not be useful, she might lose her quirk and just doesn't die. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, because Star and Stripe being on the hero side gives them a huge advantage, but also the quirk going over to the villains gives them a huge advantage. So trying to figure out how to balance this incredibly powerful quirk between the 2 sides is something that Horikoshi is going to have to be careful with going forward, but I'm incredibly excited to see where it goes. Chapter 332, while not my favorite of these last couple of chapters, is an amazing setup and leaves off the cliffhanger that I cannot wait to see the conclusion of. I hope you guys enjoyed this chapter as much as I did. Now we'll be back next Sunday continuing to recaps with chapter 333 of My Hero Academia. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next week.